Good morning, afternoon, night, whenever you watch this. Hello, my online kids. Okay, so now we are in the thick of it, and we are going to be turning into some major big deal historians this week. You're going to have one assignment this week, and it will be to create a timeline of events. Let me show you what a timeline looks like. Oh, as a teacher, I've got these things rolling around everywhere. It's going to look something like this, except it's not going to be about major events and European expansion. It's going to be about the buildup to the Civil War. So your timeline, when you're done with it, it's going to have like a title. I would just title it The Road to the Civil War. And you're going to include your events in chronological order. So you see this one here, it starts in 1515 and it goes all the way up to 1700. So when you're creating a timeline, what I would do first is like get your list of events out in order, or even just list them out. You need 20 events. You can start when slaves first came into the North American continent, because slavery is one of the big reasons why the Civil War was fought. We've learned about other reasons as well. And your final event is going to be the attack on Fort Sumter. So what you fill in between is completely on you. And I'm going to share my screen right now just to give you an idea of the different types of events that you can include on there. So starting with what the assignment looks like. This is where you're going to be working. Like I said, this is your one big assignment. There's not going to be like a reading quiz on Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. There will be a check-in on Tuesday and Thursday just to see where you're at. Each day I'm going to post a resource that built into the Civil War. I have a document that will give you an idea of the events that I would include on there and some of the events that you're gonna have this week. So I don't have these listed in any particular order because, again, it's part of the job of like what you need to do is be able to put these events in chronological order or by time. The Mexican-American War, the Louisiana Purchase, the nullification crisis during Andrew Jackson's presidency. If you go back to the quiz on Andrew Jackson, or the video itself, there should be some information on the role of South Carolina saying, we're not going to allow you to put that tariff in there. We've done some stuff on the Missouri Compromise. There was a few articles about the growing differences between the North and the South. You've all done a little bit of an assignment on a major figure, a person in the buildup to the Civil War. And we've watched that video on the institution of slavery in general, in terms of what it is, why it's important, that sort of thing. This week, I'm going to be giving you some information on a variety of events. Bleeding Kansas, that is in terms of the development of actual conflict and violence between North and South, that event it's violent. That's why historically we call it Bleeding Kansas. This week, we're going to talk about the rise of Abraham Lincoln, and actually some of the resources that I posted today, Monday, does talk about Abraham Lincoln's biggest political opponent in Stephen Douglas. The election of 1860 is a big deal. This week, we're getting into Abraham Lincoln's election as president, which was one of the big signifiers in the build up to the Civil War. The Compromise of 1850 is loaded with information and events. yes, it's one big compromise, but there's different parts of the compromise of 1850. There is a Supreme Court decision that very much helped the United States along in the road to the Civil War. I like to call it the Dred Scott decision. And the last part of your timeline will be the attack on Fort Sumter by Southern forces. So, hey, you already know which one's going to be last. That's number 20 on your list of events. This assignment is going to be due on next Sunday. So a week, essentially, you've got a week to work on this. And the reason for that is you guys have got some testing that you have to do for math and science over the next couple of weeks. And I've been asked by Mr. Mattern to not give you those like daily reading assignments or daily check-ins. But there will be stuff posted every single day about this. So let's dig into it. On this assignment, and I'm just showing it to you now, I've already got a lot of resources that we've dug into. There's stuff on the Mexican-American War, the Missouri Compromise. These two articles here are great because they will talk about events that are in the North, events that are in the South. And my advice is to read through those and look for important events. The Louisiana Purchase is big because that allowed the United States to expand. Here's the video about slavery. You've got Jacksonian democracy video right there. And don't forget, you've already got a pretty good resource on the person that you studied. A couple of you did Harriet Beecher Stowe's Uncle Tom's Cabin. That is something that's great to put on there in terms of the buildup to the Civil War. Again, how you do this assignment is completely on you. I don't care if you do this on paper and then like take a picture of it, kind of like this, and just upload that. The only thing that I ask is that each event has at minimum of one sentence explaining why that event led to the Civil War. So real quick, here is the resource about the Compromise of 1850. This resource, I think, has active links to other things like within it. And if you can't click on the links through my resource, the little PDF, then I would highly advise you to go to the history.com article about the Compromise of 1850, just so you can get a little bit more information. So already the Compromise of 1850 references the Mexican-American War and what it did. Hey, it admitted California as a free state, left Utah and New Mexico to decide for themselves. So, you know, states' rights. Let's see here. Let's keep on moving. Let's see if we can find another date. There's our boy, John C. Calhoun. So some of you, if you chose to research him, he would be an important figure there. And, oh, looky here. Even within the Missouri Compromise, or the Compromise of 1850, we have a couple of things that are referenced here. The Fugitive Slave Act passed by Congress in 1793. And then again, the Fugitive Slave Act of 1850. What I would do is take a look at each resource and write down the important dates. Oh, looky here, the Underground Railroad, that's important because people were resisting slavery. And this is another resource for today, or that I've posted for today. And again, for each resource, what I would do is go through and look at important events, or look at these events in general and look through the article to find important dates. As we're reading through here, we've got the spread of racism. We've got Thomas Jefferson. Let's see here. Oh, looky there. There's Harriet Tubman. Harriet Tubman escaped slavery in 1849 and helped a lot of other slaves escape on the Underground Railroad. That would be something that I would definitely include in your timeline. With that being said, good luck this week in testing. We've still got stuff that we want to do. It's a pretty substantial assignment, but if you work a little bit on this timeline each and every day this week, you should be able to get it done hunky-dory. How you'll be graded: number one, your final timeline, I want to see 20 events listed in chronological order, and that is a majority of the assignment. You've got 20 events. Each event is going to be worth 1 point. The events have got to be listed in chronological order, and so right there, 80% of this grade is, or well, 90% really. 90% is pretty much just listing the events and putting them in chronological order. So like I said, your last event is going to be the attack on Fort Sumter. The first event, there's a lot of different ways that you can start this off. I mentioned Louisiana Purchase. You can also dig a little bit deeper in terms of when slaves first arrived on the North American continent in 1619. It's a pretty open-ended assignment, and the only thing that I would do after you get those events in chronological order is you definitely want to explain why each event led to the Civil War. There's a lot, and all I need there is just a sentence. And along the way this week, I will be doing check-ins on your progress in the timeline, and away we go. History is a broad topic, and when it comes to creating a timeline of like at least 20 events that led to the Civil War, a lot of it will have to do with the stuff that we've covered so far. But how you approach those 20 events is completely on you. I'm here to help. Please email me if you have any questions. With that being said, let's have fun this week. The Civil War is a gruesome event. In terms of its historical importance, it still impacts us today. As you learned last week, people learn about it differently. And the approach that you're taking this week is that you really just want to get a large chunk of information condensed on 1 or 2 pages, and putting those events in chronological order. That way you can see that the Civil War didn't just happen overnight. It was a major big deal crisis in our country, whether our country would survive or not. It's really, really kind of muddled. With that being said, if you have any questions on this big assignment this week, let me know, and good luck in testing. Bye-bye.